My name is Mr. Krempa. I am the Associate Director of Orchestra for Stevenson High School. I'm here to talk about many of the elements of our classes and program that make it so interesting and diverse and fun for students and teachers to be involved in. One of the things that I do at a really intense level is work with the students who are part of the pit orchestra every year for our musical. And the pit orchestra itself is a really interesting collaboration, as it is students from all levels of our orchestra classes and all levels of our band classes coming together to create one unified ensemble. We rehearse outside of the school day, and we do that work starting back in late August. We push all the way through into November, and then we move into the auditorium. And we have just started rehearsals with our cast. We'll be putting together all of the elements of dance and voice, and then we'll be adding elements from our crew like lights and sound and props, and all that comes together in a beautiful collaboration, which is the musical. And this year's show is SpongeBob SquarePants, the musical for everybody. And it's a really beautiful, upbeat show about friendship and how to be a hero and how to build community, something that we really all need right now. And from what I can understand, it is the largest collaboration of fine arts students that happens every year, the idea of the musical coming together for one single purpose of putting together this show. So really, always really excited to be a part of it, and glad for the students, the experience they get. When we kind of look at the classroom of orchestra, we could talk a little bit about daily rehearsals. Daily rehearsals is our normal bread and butter, what we do every day, and we have several elements that go into what we do in a daily rehearsal. Things like our daily announcements, where we'll talk about ongoing things that are happening with our strings board and how the kinds of activities they're trying to manage. Also things happening with our parent group, which we'll talk about in more depth in another section of this. And some of the curricular and non-curricular things that we're doing to just enrich the experience for students. We also have a really robust technique focus every day that will appear in our scale and arpeggio studies and etudes and all sorts of bow exercises to get them ready for the main part of class, which is rehearsing orchestral repertoire. Those are always big things that the students help us decide on what repertoire should we be playing, all geared towards our performances. And we've already had one this year, and looking forward to some really wonderful things in the near future in December and on through the year. Some of the really cool elements of our year are the things that have nothing to do with the daily rehearsals, though. Things like our sectionals. Sectionals is a time for students to meet in smaller groups and to make some artistic, musical, and technical decisions about how they'd like to progress on their pieces. In some of our upper advanced classes, they're led by the students, and in some of our younger classes, we'll bring in coaches, professional musicians from outside of our community to come in and work with them. Also, of course, the teachers themselves act as coaches in those settings. And it's a really fun and different way to focus on the small details of the parts, trying to build facility so that the larger group experience is even more refined. One of our fun and favorite parts of the year is our chamber unit. That will happen in the new year, and we'll work for the month of January and half of February in small chamber ensembles, and the elements of student choice there are vast. They get to choose who they want to play with, what piece they want to play, what composer they want to study, what period of music they'd like to focus on, and then they get a lot of time in rehearsal together over those 6 weeks with guidance from coaches and from teachers to put together a really great presentation. And our advanced classes will have a recital at the end of that unit, and our younger classes will go through a more informal experience, but will attend that recital at the end of the chamber unit. It's usually regarded as one of the students' favorite times of the year. Some of the smaller unit things that we do, we focus on elements of sight reading. It's called our Student Learning Objective, or SLO, and we measure the growth of each individual player and their ability to sight read notes, rhythms, and dynamics, and really all the elements of music as they go throughout their year. We do a lot of real focus work in this area, and we almost categorically across the board, everybody gets better at the skill throughout the course of their year and the course of their 4 years here at Stevenson High School. We also have a big focus on music theory. So we do that through a website called Breezing Through Theory, and it allows for students to learn at their own pace, self-directed lessons and drills that help them learn the different elements of musical theory, or the rules of music. And we try to find great ways to apply those theoretical lessons to the practical in performance. And kind of capping off our year is the auditions that happen in the spring. And students will get a pretty robust package of music and scales and sight reading elements to focus on for several months. They usually work with mentors and private teachers to prepare this. They'll come during one very intense week in April and audition for some professional judges we bring in. Students play in a blind manner, meaning that the judges never actually see them. They just refer to them by their student ID number. And through scoring that the judges do based on the quality of their audition on all of those elements, scales, etudes, excerpts, and sight reading, they are selected for and placed in the ensemble for the next year. And it's a really wonderful way for us to see growth in individual skill and to help guide what our ensembles will be for the next year, and a part of the year that's very, very important for our student body and very important for us too.
Okay, so one word I can use to describe the orchestra and playing with them this fall is flexibility, because I think playing with the piano in an orchestra is completely different, and like only having like a month and a half to prepare prior to the concert was pretty hard, but it took a lot of flexibility for me and like the orchestra members and also the directors to perform and plan out a good concert for everyone. So, yep.
If I could describe orchestra in one word, it would be rewarding. Being a part of Stevenson's orchestra is like being a part of a giant community of like-minded and talented peers, and it's really inspiring to be able to learn from them and to share musical ideas, and yeah.
Hello, my name is Ayush. So if I had one word to describe orchestra, I would say it's unique, because the opportunities and experiences you get here, especially in Stevenson's orchestra, are some that you wouldn't find in any other school or any other program. So we're super fortunate to have that. And in terms of what I like when I'm playing in a group, and especially this group, I'd say it's like the unique perspectives. I've been lucky enough to make a lot of friends throughout the way, and honestly, like just seeing kind of my growth from freshman to senior year, and then also seeing everyone who's come in and out of the orchestra during those 4 years has been pretty cool to see. So I'd say that that's probably the best part about playing a group, is just seeing all those different perspectives. So yeah.
Orchestra has impacted me. It's really made me like a very collaborative person, and it really allows me to express like my playing in school, which is really nice. And I really love orchestra because it's so much. It's like a break from my day, kind of. And I get to like, after all the studies with like physics and math and like other LA classes, it's nice to have something to take a break and just make music. And there's like no words to describe orchestra. It's really amazing.
I made it into the senior solo recital, and so I was rehearsing with the orchestra for like a couple months, and it's been a really fun experience. I mean, at the beginning it was a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. I had to play with I still had to play with like 50, 60 other people, but I had a lot of fun doing it. The conductors are all really good, and yeah, it was a lot of fun making some new friends in the orchestra, and honestly playing with them. It was a lot of fun.
So the first thing that's on the list here is Baroque Ensemble. Baroque Ensemble has been a thing that has evolved over the last 10, 11 years now. So we've had it since kind of early on in my career here at Stevenson. It started off really, really small, you know, with a grouping of maybe 6 or 7 instruments. And now we've got 8 Baroque violins, 4 Baroque violas, 3 Baroque cellos, a D violone, a real harpsichord, 2 theorbos, Baroque guitars, lutes, and a vihuela. So really just an outstanding collection of instruments. One of our instructors here, Morgan Little, who is a Juilliard graduate, was telling me that our collection of instruments is actually bigger than what they have at Juilliard. So kind of an impressive fact about that program. We play on period instruments, which means those instruments are direct replicas of instruments from the Baroque period. Just really a phenomenal experience for our students. That's a little bit about our Baroque ensemble. The viol consort is Violas da Gamba, and that is something that Mr. Little is now directing. Wonderful experience for kids, especially if they have no idea about that, but it really brings us closer together in a very interesting way. This kind of our alternative strings, if you will. So Baroque ensemble and viol consort kind of fit that mold really, really nicely in a very unique way, I might add. A little bit about Strings Board. That's kind of a student leadership program that we have here. It's comprised of students from all of the orchestras, and they're really responsible for making sure that the culture and feel of what we do in orchestra really includes the student voice. Really a wonderful opportunity for all of our students, whether you're a freshman all the way up to a senior. So we're very, very excited about that, and it's constantly growing. Kind of along that line, we've got our String Parents Association, SPA, and that is our parent leadership, and they really help support the things that we do. They do concessions during our concerts. They help us provide for our students through scholarships. We have 2 scholarships a year, one for orchestra and one for guitar, which is really nice. So we're very, very excited and honored to have our parents involved in our organization as well. We do trips. This year is a sad year. We were supposed to do a trip to Germany and Austria, but because of the pandemic this year we had to cancel and postpone that, but we're looking at other options, and it's usually over spring break. And then on alternating years, so that it'll be a big trip like that, then 1 year off so that we can recover from that trip, and then the following year we do a domestic trip, so anywhere within the United States. For some of the things that we do with trip opportunities, and we're looking at more options as we continue to grow so that we can include more students, of course. Conducting workshops. We've had several conductors come in. Cesar Leal, who is now at the Gettysburg Conservatory, has come and given a few conducting workshops. So this is a way to get students engaged with the leadership through conducting. So not so much like like our strings board, but actually being in front of other students and leading a group, studying the scores, understanding how instrumentation is put together, balance, dynamics, being expressive and leading the group, and that has been a really positive thing. Of course, we're continuing to develop that. We're kind of in the infancy stages of that, and I'd like to see that continue as we move forward, especially for moments where Mr. Krempa and I are not here. It's always nice to have a student lead the class and have the students, show their respect and honor that student who's leading the class. So I love that we have that opportunity right now.
Appreciate all the opportunities that orchestra gave me.
Appreciated having orchestra be part of my every year, every day. I had one class where I could go and relax and play some music with friends, and I really enjoyed having the same group of friends all 4 years in orchestra.
One word I'd use to describe orchestra is diversity. There are a variety of different voices, ranging from strings, percussion, woodwind, brass, and a variety of different styles. Baroque, romantic, all the way to contemporary. Orchestra has given me the ability to connect to people with different backgrounds and ages, and basically to set aside all differences to come together to produce beautiful music.
Just getting to know everyone.
Play together as a group. Always. It's wonderful.
I was able to meet a ton of people. Played it since I was young. Music is a very big part of my life.
I love playing in concerts.
Definitely eccentric.
Memorable.
Fun. Exciting. Fun.
Awesome.